born to mother Maureen Brandt and father Hugo Ferreira on the 21st of May 2023. Please don't criticize me on this one if I have the wrong dates, but I'm not completely sure of the date, and you will soon understand why. I'm also not sure if baby Caitlin was registered under her mother or her father's name, if formally registered at all, so we will call her baby Caitlin. There is also not very much to say about baby Caitlin, because she was just 8 days old when and brutally murdered by her own father. Yes, you heard it right, only 8 days old. The event we're going to talk about today happened on the 8th of July 2023. It is reported that Maureen left Caitlin in her father's care to go and sell clothes to be able to buy some nappies for Caitlin. She was supposed to take no longer than 5 minutes. I don't even know how it will be humanly possible to go somewhere, sell clothes, buy nappies and be back home in 5 minutes. But we will come back to this. While she was out, the most brutal event unfolded. Upon her return, she at first did not realize that there was anything wrong, but as time passed and Hugo kept her away from Caitlin, she realized that something is clearly not right. The police was called soon thereafter and Hugo arrested. So, let's talk a little bit about this because I have so many questions and loads to say about this. But before we do that, I want you to meet Maureen Brandt and Hugo Ferreira. I'm sad to say that not much is known about Maureen. I'm only allowed to share what is already publicly known, and I don't see public records of her birthday, birth town, life before Hugo or life with Hugo. Hugo, on the other hand, gave us a few things to talk about. Hugo Ferreira was born in 1987, making him 36 or about that age at the time of the incident. He was born in Fochville, South Africa, and raised by his grandparents. His mother worked away for long periods at a time, and it just made more sense for him to stay with his grandparents. His mom would, as we say in South Africa, go home to her parents' house to spend some time with Hugo. She was unfortunately met with a son not giving or wanting any attention from his mother. We don't know the circumstance at his grandparents' house, and that will forever be up for debate. This can bring us up to the debate: born monsters or monsters being created? According to Hugo's mom, he was a violent child from a very early age, and it just escalated as he grew older. He would often be aggressive and damage the property and belongings of his grandparents. He would frequently just lash out for no good reason. He often mentioned that he blamed his mother for working away and not spending enough time with him, also for the fact that he had to live with his grandparents. He would say that she, his mother, is to blame for his violent behavior. This is some of the first signs that Hugo will not take accountability for his actions and would blame a female for why he did what he did. There is absolutely no blame to put on his mother for the so-called statement leaving him, as it is quite common in South Africa for parents to leave their children with grandparents while they go out and work to provide for not just themselves but also the whole family. That, unfortunately, is a very real result of poverty in South Africa. While Hugo would treat his mother very bad, it didn't stop him to demand money for his of choice was which he was using since he was a teenager. Whenever his mother refused him any money, he would assault her, and there are numerous family accounts of this happening. Since his teens, he would use drugs, show violent behavior, abuse a female, and would not be held accountable for any of his actions. He was at that abusing his mother in public. Fast forward to his 30s. Hugo got married but was divorced very soon thereafter. His marriage lasted about 4 years. One of the so many reasons for this is that he constantly accused his wife at the time of infidelity. Sometime during the separation, he vandalized their house and actually set it on fire. Yes, he set their house on fire. And I don't know if this is just me, but I would like to know if she was in the house at the time. Not just to be nosy, but it's very clear that Hugo's behavior was escalating by the year. And was he then at that stage having thoughts of killing? His wife then got a protection order, which he obviously violated, and was also arrested for violating that protection order. This clearly said to me that he's not even scared of the authorities. He was actually no stranger to the authorities. He was arrested several times for things like theft, damage to property, assault. I tried to get to know Hugo and could only find him on Facebook. What a shock. His post paints a very clear picture of the type of person he is. This brings me to the relationship of Maureen and Hugo. And here again, there is not much to say. And the reason for this can very well be Hugo's jealous and abusive tendencies. Men like Hugo would want to control his partner's every move, and for them to have a small thing like social media would be a no-go. And a way for her to protect herself is obey. And the question on so many people's lips are, why stay with a man like this? And there's so many things to say about this. We don't know if she actually had somewhere to go. Surely she must have had someone. Well, in some cases you don't. Whatever the reason might be is for her to account to. Sometimes the environment you get yourself out of, in your mind, is even worse than the one you find yourself in, especially in the poverty-stricken community. Maureen, even looking in Hugo's direction, can tell us that she was at the time clearly not hanging out in the best of circles. It's so easy for a seasoned manipulator to draw you in, and before you know it, you are in a position where you are very vulnerable and do not know how to get yourself out of. Especially when we talk about a jealous abuser who is not afraid of authorities. It can also be argued that she knew what she was walking into and chose the more alpha dirtbag to provide some sort of security. We can say so much about Maureen ending up with Hugo, but not knowing Maureen's background, it's all speculation, and that's not what I want this channel to stand for. You can also ask why there is any kids involved if there was no money to provide for them. There again, the community she was part of plays a big role. In many low-income communities, access to contraceptions and reproductive health service is limited, leading to unplanned pregnancies. Or the male just refuses to use contraceptive and also would not give you the opportunity to spend a day at a clinic to safeguard yourself. Sometimes, in these relationships, a female will have certain duties, and if she don't want to perform her so-called duties, it is forced upon her. And in some cases, the female don't even know that being forced to do your so-called duties is called. They then find themselves in a circle where lack of opportunities, including education and healthcare, leads up to a higher birth rate. Poverty can also lead to a sense of hopelessness and a feeling that one has little control over their circumstances, which may influence family size decision. Some people may view having children as a way to experience love and connection, especially if they lack other sources or support. It's so very easy for me and you to say what we would have done if caught in circumstances like that, but if you have not lived a life in that community, you have no knowledge of the rules that can come with it. I'm definitely not advocating for Maureen, but all avenues must be explored to understand how we got to this case. Back to Maureen and Hugo. You might also ask why I keep talking about poverty. Well, it's because that was the reality for the pair. They lived in a small town called Welverdiend, not far from Carletonville, with only about 1,700 households. The community faces challenges related to unproductive land, lack of opportunities, and the influx of refugees. According to reports, Hugo and Maureen lived in a back room of someone's house next to a railway. And on Thursday, 8 July 2023, when baby Caitlin was only 8 days old, there was no money for nappies. Someone had to go do something to get some money to buy nappies and milk. It is not uncommon for women in low-income communities to go out and sell clothes as a way to get some income. Mostly, that is also regulated, and I don't know if Maureen did this on a regular basis. But with that said, there was no money for nappies or milk, but Hugo was at the time of the event high on so there was money for drugs. But this, unfortunately, is also a way of domestic abuse called financial abuse and goes beyond physical abuse. Financial abuse is when a partner repeatedly withholds funds and control all household spending. So Maureen was given permission to leave the house to go sell some clothes and get money to buy what she needed. The media reports very clear that Maureen was only to be out for 5 minutes. Now I don't know if that's just a figure of speech from his or her side, Or did he actually give her 5 minutes to set her up for failure? That would give him a reason to punish her in whatever way he saw fit. We can now ask 1,000 questions about why Maureen went out to make the plan for some money and not Hugo. One answer: it simply doesn't work that way in relationships like that. If Maureen wanted to care for her child, she had to make a plan herself and hope all works out well. I also struggle with so many questions. Why Caitlin was left with him? Why not take the baby with you? She knew what he was capable of. Men like Hugo find pride in abusing whomever they can, so they don't stay quiet about it. They actually boast about it. The only answer that makes 1% sense to me is that Maureen never could have imagined that Hugo would do something to their 8-day-old baby. He surely wouldn't hurt an innocent baby. And this is yet again another sign that Maureen was in a severely abusive relationship, always making excuses for her partner. She probably was so manipulated by him that she couldn't see clear anymore. Have you heard about battered woman syndrome? I can certainly not diagnose Maureen, but this screams battered woman syndrome to me. I can simply only get to one other explanation for Maureen leaving the house, walking away, knowing that a precious baby is at the mercy of a violent man such as Hugo. But that one I will not share on this video, as it is purely speculative and not a theory I feel comfortable putting into words. I will only say that I have seen reports of Maureen not being the most innocent person on the planet. It's not reported how long after Maureen left that baby Caitlin started to cry. According to Hugo, she was hungry and needed a diaper change, as if he would really know what's wrong when an 8-day-old baby started to cry. Hugo, already high on and enraged because Maureen did not yet return home, then saw completely red. In his mind, he knew Maureen was cheating on him, out there, in the streets, doing whatever she wanted, and he was stuck with this screaming baby. It just wouldn't stop. The voices in his head, the screaming baby, seconds turned into minutes, maybe hours, and then he snapped. He saw red, grabbed the beautiful baby girl on the back of her neck and struck her repeatedly. He pushed her head against the surface he was working on, and then the unthinkable happened. In his own words, he wanted to give her something to cry about. Hugo Ferreira then sexually violated baby Caitlin by using his fingers. That was her punishment for crying, for wanting to be fed, to be changed and to be loved. He didn't stop there. He also decided to rub his genitals against her. I feel so sick painting this picture. No human can be comfortable talking about what he actually acted out. When Maureen finally returned, he kept her from going to baby Caitlin. He knew Caitlin was badly hurt, and I think deep down he knew that she would not survive the brutal attack and wanted to delay whatever he knew was coming. There is conflicting statement as to what exactly happened, but after a while Maureen phoned the police. I don't know if she saw baby Caitlin before she made the call. Baby Caitlin was rushed to hospital, but her injuries was just too much. There was no way she could live through what Hugo did. Baby Caitlin then passed away the next day. While she was fighting for her life in hospital, Hugo Ferreira was arrested. He immediately admitted to what he was accused of at that stage. He did not show any ounce of remorse when he admitted to his crimes. In April 2025, Hugo Ferreira was sentenced to 2 life terms for the rape and murder of baby Caitlin. So let's talk about the actual court case. Hugo admitted that he was at the time of the incident high on but according to him was not the reason he committed the crime. That he did it willful and with intent and he knew what he was doing. That's according to him. It was all Maureen's fault. If she didn't stay out for as long as she did, he wouldn't have done what he did, still not taking accountability for his own actions. He was angry at Maureen and took it all out on baby Caitlin. He even told a probation officer that he would kill Maureen if he ever got out of prison. So he is so delusional that he actually believes that everything happening to him is Maureen's fault. He also said that he would kill his ex-wife. It was said that there is no hope for rehabilitation, and I would say that observation is 100% correct. In my opinion, he tasted blood, and now there's no turning back. Although Hugo admitted to the and killing of baby Caitlin. He certainly did not tell the full extent of what he did that day, but the post-mortem findings did it and painted a much worse picture as one I earlier did. The injuries to Caitlin's head was consistent with a car crash, meaning Hugo didn't just strike her repeatedly. He didn't just push her head against the surface. He did way worse. I can only imagine what that beautiful soul had to go through. Allegedly, puncture wounds was also found in her groin area, indicating that she was poked with a needle. What is that all about? I will get back to this when I give my final thoughts. Hugo Ferreira is serving his time in Paulsmoor prison. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the most brutal prisons in South Africa. You will find only the worst of the worst there, and there is a different set of rules I don't think Hugo is used to. There will be no possibility for parole. At the sentencing hearing, Hugo requested leniency, but luckily none was given. At the day of sentencing, there was no family or friends representing baby Caitlin, only a group of women from a gender-based violence brigade. And my heart breaks when I wonder if there's even one photo of baby Caitlin that someone can hold on to. Is there someone out there that would want to hold on to a photo? If the needle marks on baby Caitlin's groin area is true, it would in my mind be an indication that she was probably abused from day one, and that this life lost was spared from a lifetime of all sorts of abuse, and baby Caitlin is the reason that a monster is taken out of society. There is no justice in this case, only a hollow feeling of emptiness and silence. I would love if Maureen can also be investigated, but we all know that will never happen. I mean, they got the guy, he's behind bars. And bringing to light whatever Maureen's role in this was will not bring baby Caitlin back. Resources should be applied when needed. Well, I disagree. Although all the things I mentioned about Maureen being abused is probably true, but two things can be true at one time. Maureen knew that something was wrong the moment she stepped foot back into that room. We don't know how long she was gone and for how long Hugo kept her away from baby Caitlin. I would assume at least more than an hour, since she left to go sell clothes. How is it that he was able to keep a mother from her child? Wouldn't you check on your baby the moment you get back? Maybe she's hungry, or she would need a diaper change, or just to take a loving look at your princess. How could you leave her with him just hoping for the best? Or did you just accept that you knew what he was really capable of? Just hoping that whatever abuse he would inflict on her wouldn't be that bad. She's just a baby. She won't remember. Or is it a scenario of, I have survived, so will you. That's just our life. And what was your role in the abuse inflicted on baby Caitlin in her 8 days of life? Or did you just look the other way? My other question is, what is Maureen's relationship with drugs? Why am I asking all these questions? Again, not to be nosy. Maureen is out there somewhere in society, taking part in the same circle she used to. We have to know more to be able to prevent this from happening again and again. And then the final question is, what we as people are going to do with the information we have. Will you also keep quiet and look the other way, or will you shout it from the rooftops? If you see something, say something. Until next time.